So this is what happens when you put two yoga teachers back to back. I am going to ask you to sit up tall. We should have talked about this before, spread it out or something. And I am also going to ask you to take a deep breath. So a nice big inhale. And exhale. And so while you're sitting tall, you don't have to close your eyes if you don't want to, but if it helps, you can close your eyes. Think about your day today. So just think about when you got up, people you've interacted with, the places you've gone, the food you've eaten, the emails you've read, everything basically that's taken place today from the time you woke up to the time you got here. So just kind of play those images in your head. So you can quit doing that now if you want. You all look very focused on thinking about your day, which is awesome. So, and no one has to answer this out loud, but I just want to pose this question to think about. Is that perhaps during your day today, how many times do you think you thought about your body, weight, what you're eating, what you should be eating, guilt associated with eating, maybe deprivation or feeling out of control? So perhaps maybe you thought about those things 1, 2 times, maybe more. The average woman, according to studies, so I'll give you a slew of studies that have taken place both in Britain and in the US, average woman spends about 21 minutes a day thinking about weight, thinking about body, thinking about food. So over the course of 67 years, this equates to 355 days dedicated solely to thinking about your weight or thinking about food. Among this same research, it found that over half of the adult women use calorie counting to maintain weight. And so then on top of that, if you use any form of calorie counting, or now there's like a bajillion apps out there and all of these things, you're spending an extra 20 minutes a day thinking about counting and worrying about calories. So if you're a woman, statistically, that counts calories, you're spending 41 minutes a day just thinking about and worrying about and wondering about these things. And there's more. So, another survey found that, this was a survey of over 300 women, of all diversities, all across the nation, in the US, found that 97% of women have at least one "I hate my body" thought a day. But on average, you have, the average woman has about 13 "I hate my body" thoughts a day. So this counts for almost one time every waking hour, there's a thought about how much you hate your body. And yet another survey found that the average woman worries about their body about 252 times a week. So, and there's just more and more of those kinds of statistics and surveys and things taking place. So, my work as a yoga instructor, as a psychology of eating coach, as an intuitive eating counselor, and most importantly, as a body image activist, I have created a program called Body Love, which I kind of mush all of that education, all of that knowledge and experience together to create a program for, it's really a program for anyone, but it ends up mostly being women. So in a nutshell, this program combines lectures and presentations about actually how our thoughts and our beliefs about food and body actually affect the physiology of our body and the way that we accept food and therefore affect our overall health. Along in this program, there's also, we do a lot of group discussion and group coaching to foster community. Another piece is journaling, personal reflection, and then of course a big piece of the program is integrating yoga as a way to help heal our relationship with food and body. So you're not only getting, so what I think tends to happen a lot in especially kind of settings where there's a lot of awesome focus on education and thinking and learning and growing, which is amazing. But the yoga piece of it helps us integrate, so not only are participants walking away with really empowering and a whole new perspective with how to look at and food and interact with it, but they're learning tools how to integrate that information into their body and into their daily life. So I don't just want to talk about body love, although I feel like many people up here who are doing the things they're passionate about, I wish I could take the whole 3 hours to talk about it. But I want to talk about why this program, Body Love, as well as programs like it, are so vitally important when it comes to having the conversation of empowering women to use their voices. So if you think back to the statistics that I kind of spewed off at the beginning, girls and women, and increasingly statistically boys and men as well, are not only spending a huge amount of time, but a great amount of energy and enthusiasm in the concern of body shape and size, and how they measure up to a standard that that really we feel kind of is our value or our worth. And side note, there's a standard in our society that intentionally is made so that almost no one can achieve this standard, which is really awesome job stability for the people in the beauty industry who are making $40 to $100 billion a year off of us being dissatisfied with how we look and who we are. And so this is increasingly becoming, or has been, an issue that has held women back. There's all kinds of statistics as well as how women will disengage from life because of their shame about their body and their concern about how they'll be perceived. So this isn't just your problem, this isn't just my problem, this is a collective problem. And just like many people, many of these women, amazing women, have talked about, is that this is also a social justice issue. And so what tends to happen is we have internalized a very powerful message, whether we realize it or not, about what we assume about people based on what they look like and the size and shape of their body. We have internalized a belief, and this happens very subtly, from going to visiting your doctor, to body shaming, to even feel like we have the right to make a comment about what someone is eating, how they choose to eat. We have a very, very strong belief in our culture that thinness equals health and happiness. And that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, there is mounds and mounds, which I would love to offer if you're interested in it, of research and statistics and books written that prove actually just the opposite. Is that by looking at a person and seeing how they look, the size and the shape of their body, you actually can't know anything about them. A thin person does not at all mean that they're healthy and happy. In fact, the more I work with women and talk about body image and talk about this effect, the opposite is very often true. You can't look at a large person and know anything about their life, their lifestyle choices, and their health. And so this becomes an issue of discrimination. Our culture has a huge fear of fat, and this really, really affects the way that we as women especially are showing up in the world and how we think that we need to be in order to be seen and heard. So the thing is that I have this really strong belief that we are all here on this earth at this moment in time for a very, very specific reason. And I actually believe that the evolution and the growth of our entire planet is depending on each of us to live out our very specific path. And it's so diverse. As you've seen from all of the women who have come up and spoken, we have such different paths, such different passions, and I really believe the world depends on us living that out. But this becomes a really difficult task when you're constantly comparing yourself, or you're trying to measure up to a standard that you believe determines your worth. So how are we as women supposed to be exactly who we are if our hips are wrong, our thighs are wrong, or our hair is wrong, or our dress size is wrong, right? How can we really show up and speak our truth if we can't even feed ourselves amply, or we're spending 20 minutes a day trying to figure out what they say we're allowed to eat and not eat? How can we make decisions about the right path to take if we can't listen to our bodies, if we can't trust our bodies, especially when it comes time to eat and come time to nourish ourselves? So is Body Love and programs like Body Love just about helping women heal the relationship with food and body? Well, yes, on one hand, it's definitely that. But on the other hand, it's about so much more. Healing your relationship with your body, healing the way that you see yourself, healing the way that you present yourself to the world is helping women reclaim their bodies, reclaim their appetites, and reclaim their choices so they can show up in the world exactly how they are and how they're meant to be. So our bodies are actually a part of who we are. They just are. And they're actually really, really powerful resources when it comes to knowing how to take care of ourselves and also when it comes to navigating decisions in life. So most of us show up in this world from the neck up, especially in this society. We tend to just kind of stay up here, which makes sense because if you hate your body or you're battling your body or you don't think your body is good enough, then you're not going to connect with it. And so from here up, even, we do and say some pretty awesome stuff, cool stuff happens. But imagine then if you connected that. And rather than just showing up from the neck up, you actually showed up your whole being, you know, your whole spirit, this totality of who you are showed up and impacted the world. Imagine then what could be said, what could be done, what could change, what could evolve, and also the interactions and connections that can be created when you're not ashamed of who you are. And when you're not ashamed of who you are, it creates a space where other people don't have to be ashamed of who they are as well. So time is up. Oh, right before I was going to have you do a yoga exercise.